Nichiren never described chanting as an escape hatch. In his letters to followers facing illness, exile, poverty, and family collapse, he kept returning to a single mechanism: cause and effect operate together in the same moment in this life, not as a ledger settled later. That's the actual meaning behind the word myoho in Nam-myoho Renge-kyo, as he explained it. The wonderful law describes the simultaneity of cause and effect, the way a lotus holds both flower and seed at once. This isn't decoration. It's the reason chanting can't function as avoidance. If cause and effect are one event, there's no version of the practice that lets you chant your way around something you set in motion. You can only meet it. This shows up most clearly in how Nichiren talked to people who were suffering. Writing to followers under persecution, or dealing with sick children, hostile relatives, or crushing debt, he didn't tell them their hardship was random or unfair. He connected it to karma. Causes made, sometimes in this life, sometimes further back, and he treated denial of that connection as the real obstacle to change. What he offered instead was the idea of changing poison into medicine. The same causes that produce suffering could, once faced honestly and worked through with practice, become the material for a different outcome. The poison doesn't disappear. It gets metabolized into something else. That only works if you stop pretending the poison isn't yours. This is also where his teaching gets uncomfortable for anyone hoping for a shortcut. Nichiren wrote plainly about slander of the law and about fundamental darkness, the tendency to distort or deny reality, as things that produce their own consequences. And he didn't soften this into metaphor. He was equally direct that Buddhahood was to be attained in this very body, in this lifetime, not postponed. Put those two ideas together, and the practice stops being comfort and starts being confrontation. You chant as someone who has already admitted what you did, not as someone hoping the chanting will do the admitting for you. None of this asks to be taken on faith alone. Nichiren himself set the standard by which his teaching should be judged, distinguishing documentary proof and theoretical proof from what he called actual proof, visible results in a person's concrete life. He staked his own claims on this repeatedly, pointing to outcomes in his followers' circumstances as the test of whether the practice was doing anything real. That standard cuts both ways. A piece of writing that explains this teaching accurately, but changes nothing about how someone actually deals with what they caused, hasn't succeeded just because the ideas were correctly stated. By Nichiren's own measure, the only fair test of what's written here is whether it's still true after being lived with, whether it holds up against actual proof, not just plausible argument.